The sun rose slow on a broken town. Factories closed, machines shut down. Promises made, but none were kept. Dreams turned to dust while the people wept. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. The tariffs came, they hit like a storm. Families braced to keep their homes warm. A pause was given, a moment to act, but the time was wasted, that's a hard fact. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. Leaders spoke with words so grand, but their hollow deeds we can't withstand. The people begged, the people cried. Now hope's a stranger on this side. Misery's knocking, poverty's near, a future clouded by doubt and fear. If only they'd fought to make things right, we wouldn't be lost in this endless night.
Sunsets and skies so blue, mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder then shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than the shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies, they weave their weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people above it all. We know it all.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Folks, listen, okay, so let's just be upfront about this. First, thanks to the 516 people currently here. Really appreciate your presence and your viewership and your patrons for the program. Very grateful for that. Second, anyone coming in here trying to start cock between content creators, just stop right now. You're going to get the bunny. You're going to get Bob. Bob, the bugger off bunny, is going to come for you. Next, I'm going to address something that I really don't care to address because the information's limited, but I'm going to address it because it's coming up, and I've received dozens of WhatsApp messages. I've received emails about this now, and so I'm going to address it, and I'm going to say this at grave risk because people will hear what they want to hear and not what I say. So I'm going to ask you to please listen to what I say, okay? Now, I'm going to express some frustration, but it may be in the absence of information. This keeps happening repeatedly. I know it's happened. That's why I think it's legitimate to express frustration. I received multiple messages this morning, interrupting my morning via WhatsApp, Telegram, and email, asking me to confirm something about a group in Kenya, whether it has anything to do with refugee program. In the chat earlier, someone said that the Amerikaners have confirmed this. My question was how? See, this is my problem. People say things and they don't tell you whether it's their speculation, it's their analysis, or they've actually gotten confirmation that it is. Now, what I can tell you is the organization that I've researched, Church World Services, is a legitimate non-government organization based here in the United States. There's an office right here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for Church World Services, and they do help with the refugee program. However, the extent of their work in Africa has been in Kenya, to my knowledge, and they're headquartered here, not in Kenya. They may have a satellite office in Kenya, but people received messages saying that they're getting phone calls. Now, one of the viewers here said that the Amerikaners confirmed this. This is a habit, and I'm not attacking the Amerikaners, so listen to what I'm saying before you start a bunch of nonsense between the Amerikaners and I. But I have to be honest, I'm growing a bit frustrated with the group Amerikaners. Nobody heard of them when I was asked to give them interviews, and I gave them a couple of interviews. And the Amerikaners continually publish things knowing that I'm the one that gets hit with all the questions. I'm the one that gets hit with all the questions. They publish things like they did about phone calls, and they don't even bother to have the courtesy to tell me about it. Hey, Chris, did you know about this? I don't know what the deal is. They think I'm going to steal their story. If I find the information out from them, then I give them credit. I'm not attacking them, so don't run off and say, oh, why it's attacking the Amerikaners? Because I'm not. But what I'm saying is I'm growing increasingly frustrated with them announcing things as if it's fact, and I go and research it, and it's simply because someone told them who's in the process. Okay, then tell us that. I tell you that. I don't tell you, if I give you information that I confirm with the U.S. government, I tell you it's confirmed with the U.S. government. If I give you information that's my analysis, I tell you it's my analysis. But people in South Africa don't listen. They simply run with things. Oh, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. By whom? How was it confirmed? I cannot confirm that this message coming to someone from Kenya is legitimate. It appears to be legitimate, but I can't confirm that, and I would like to know how they can confirm it too. They're not alone. The cockprodder who slandered me in her, well, she libeled me in her Facebook private group and tried to make herself look erudite is also publishing this. People sent me screenshots of that. I don't really care about the cockprodder. That lady is whatever. Now she's an expert on refugees. I thought she was an asylum expert. She needs to make up her mind. Anyway, so this is the group. What's this? Let me look at the chat. They hear what they want to hear. Exactly. They hear what they want to hear, and then they lie about me. They lie about me. Yeah, when it's news and when it's confirmed news. I have no confirmation that this is true. I can tell you if things are anecdotal, but I have not a single refugee or aspiring refugee has ever contacted me and told me that they've been contacted by a group in Kenya that's based in America. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That just means nobody's contacted me. And I've been in touch with several hundred people who are refugees or aspiring refugees who contacted me, or at least they claim to be. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I don't have information on it. So that's where I start. And let's show that now. That wasn't intended to be my news today, but I'm getting inundated with this stuff. So this is the group. It's the Resettlement Support Center, and this flies in the face of my experience. I find it puzzling that we would hire a group based in America using its Kenya office to get people out of South Africa. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you overwhelm them unless they're not busy because we're not taking any Kenya refugees? Well, we don't take Kenya refugees to begin with. We take Somali refugees. So let's get that straight. Or Sudanese refugees who wind up in Kenya. So, well, Charles, it does seem to make zero sense, but it's plausible. It's plausible, but I have no information on this. It's not been shared with me. So this is the problem with the opaque nature of this program. The U.S. government is trying to protect refugees, but they're not protecting the integrity of the process when we have groups running around and spreading information without confirmation, then claiming it's confirmed. It's not confirmed unless a government source has confirmed this for them, or they have spoken to this organization directly. And I guess that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do is talk to these people directly. So I will do that first chance I get. First chance I get. Yep. They're based in Indiana. So anyway, so sorry about the adverts, guys, but if I don't put them there, YouTube doesn't, and they take all the money. So Liz says, we trust you, Colonel. Thank you for your dedication. You're welcome. Look, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. And don't anybody run off and say Colonel Wyatt said it isn't true. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I have no confirmation of it. And I'm going to show you who these people are. I'm going to show you. So here's the website that people are sending me. And just a moment here. So this is getting really annoying. So the first person that sent it to me, I'm trying to find who that was because it's not someone in my book. Let me see if I can find this thing. I mean, I've got so many. Can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? Can you confirm? I'm getting so many messages here. I'm trying to find the message I respond to. Well, I'm not finding it, so I'm not finding it. Sorry. Anyway, well, the point is I wanted to find what I wrote to this person. Basically, I said that someone sent me part of an email. Someone says, I can confirm this. And I don't know who the email's from. It's just a text from the email. So how can I confirm anything? That person in an email or a WhatsApp or whatever, it's text that says they confirm these people are legitimate. Well, I can also confirm that Church World Services is a legitimate organization. It does have operations in Kenya, but I can't confirm that they're contacting South Africans. No one's contacted me. No one's sent me any information. No one's given me any context. So this is a little bit odd. So anyway, doesn't mean it's not true. But what I'm telling you is that I can't confirm it. Well, Irene, people ask me for confirmation all the time. But someone has already... Retha, I know. You're one of 120 people that sent it to me, Retha. The person that sent it to me is not in my address book. You are. When you pop up in my address, on my WhatsApp, I see your name. This person doesn't. Did I respond to you, Retha? You might be one of the people I responded to. No, I didn't respond to you, Retha. You're not one of the people I responded to. So anyway. Yeah, and a gentleman just wrote to me just before this and said, can you confirm it? I can't, guys, I can't answer 120 WhatsApp. I have a job to do, which is to deliver the news and give you analysis. It's very frustrating. So, but let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Other than the fact that you're concerned that someone's calling you that's not legitimate, First off, let me ask this question, okay? Why do people think it's highly likely that someone's going to call you and scam you about the refugee program that would have actual information about it and know your personal information? I mean, let's put this in perspective. All right, so, hello? Yes. Yes, my name is Edwil Fandemava. Yeah, I play rugby and I want to be a refugee. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is my date of birth. Yes, okay. That address, okay. Oh, okay. I see. You okay. You have my family members there. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. I mean, if someone calls you up and has that kind of information, the odds, it's not impossible. The odds are it's probably someone legit, okay? Anyway, so people ask me, is this legit? Is legit? Why are the survey call? Why the preemptive concerns about this stuff? I mean, it's anyway. Sorry, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it grows weary and wearing at some point. Also, people claiming that things are confirmed when they've not actually confirmed it and don't tell you how they've confirmed it. Now, if I have something that's protected information and I can't share it, I'm usually reticent to tell the story unless it's germane or important for people to know. And if so, then I tell them, I'm sharing this information. I have a confirmed source, but I cannot reveal that source, and you can take it for what you want. You don't have to believe it. You can believe it. That's how I handle things. But people are not doing that. People are not doing that. People are running around saying this is confirmed. This is the case. I've looked these people up. Look, research is not as simple as going to a website. That's part of research, but there's other stuff. Anyway, let's get to this website now. This is the one that people are getting. My case, U.S. Refugee Admissions Program, operated by Church World Service, part of a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Department of State. If you have a case number, you plug it in right here. You put your password in. So, welcome to My Case, which will help you look up information about your resettlement case in the United States. Use Check My Case section to check the login. So, this is the question I have, and this is what I wrote to the lady. Why in the world would you worry about this website? This website is for somebody who has a case number from U.S. Refugee Assistance Program, USCIS. You have a case number. So you wouldn't even use this site unless you have been contacted already and been given information from a legitimate source who gave you your case number and a password, probably a temporary password, to log into the site. So this website is no good to anybody who hasn't been contacted by U.S. authorities, even if it's run by an NGO. I suspect, what is going on here? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by all this alert box. Got to turn it off. Thank you for your membership, Michelle. Thank you for sending me an email. And Erica says, Mishwe wants National Assembly. If inquiry until so there we'll have another July looting riding. Would you invite? Kenneth Mishwe's been on my program before, but it's difficult to get him on ever since his wife passed. It's hard to get him on the program. I've had Kenneth Mishwe on the program, Erica. Thank you. Thank you for the 200 Rand. If you want to suggest to him that he should come on the program, I'd be happy to interview him. All right, so back to this. I'm sorry, I have to turn off the alert box. I'm trying to focus. So the purpose of this website is for someone with a case number as a legitimate refugee who's already been granted refugee status to check on their case. I don't know what you find out. Maybe you find out where your status is. I mean, I don't know what this website, I don't have a case. I'm not a refugee. So I don't know. So why you would be worried about this is beyond me to begin with. The only concern I would see is you're worried that this is a legitimate organization. It is a legitimate organization, the Church World Services. Now, why would you go as a South African refugee through a Kenyan website to come back to America through an NGO to find out about your case? Well, first off, you have to have a case, number one. Number two, I suspect what this is people who are unbelievably impatient, want to know the status of their case. That doesn't mean anything to you. Everything you need to know about your case will be contacted by the case officer. Will tell you. You're leaving, you're approved, you're disapproved, this is when you go. Here you go. Get your ass to the airport. You know, that's you're going to get that from them. So I'm not sure why you need access to this database. I'm not saying don't go to it, but I suspect that the NGOs, any NGO who's doing the refugee resettlement services, probably, and I can't confirm this is my suspicion, my analysis, they probably have access to all the refugee cases. You just pop in a number and pops up. So when you go through the website, it can go back to the State Department and pull up your case because you had password and your case number. That's what I suspect. But again, why do you need that? Why do you need that? What does that matter? How does that help you at all? Maybe it does. Maybe it's a way I don't realize. But the people freaking out over this thing this morning. And again, others running around. It's confirmed. What's confirmed? That's a website that's legitimate. That's one thing. That isn't confirmed. Other things. So here you go. Disaster strikes. Church World Services stand ready. We have one goal: building a world where there's enough for all. Our vision is a world where everyone has food, voice, and a safe place. Well, thank you, do-gooders, so much. Thank you so much. Anyway, so there you go, folks. There you go. What is this? Are you trolling? I warned trolls. I warned trolls. I warned trolls. Okay. My dad once told me the white man did steal in apartheid, but they ran companies and government agencies at a profit and employed again. Well, Niv, what I would say to you is that your father giving a blanket statement saying the white man, that's just bigotry. The white man didn't steal. There may have been white people who stole, but the white man didn't steal. That's just bigotry. Your father probably meant well, but that doesn't come across very well. Thank you for being here. Hey, Marilyn. Hey, there's Milk and Honey. Too many chancers and stupid people in this program going to get scammed for all they're worth. Possibly, Milk and Honey. Welcome back. All right, so that's that. That's what I know. So let's be clear. I didn't attack the Amerikaners. I didn't attack the cockprodder who slandered me and libeled me in her Facebook groups. I didn't attack anybody. I'm not attacking this NGO. I've just been inundated with messages which are flooding my WhatsApp. I can't get the messages that actually matter because I've got 100+ messages from people asking me if it's legit. What I can tell you is that it's a legitimate organization that is involved with Refugee Assistance Program. To my knowledge, no NGOs are helping South Africa. Maybe this is a new development because they can't handle the flow. It makes sense. It's plausible. Doesn't mean it's true. It's not confirmed. But it would make sense to me that the U.S. government would reach out to an NGO that's willing, unlike the racist Episcopal Church, reach out to an organization that's willing to help process these refugees through the states. But I don't understand how you'd be doing the NGO before you've already been declared a refugee. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You have to be declared a refugee first. And you would know that already. So the whole thing is a little fishy, and I think somebody's putting the cart before the horse. And that doesn't work. You have to put the horse in front of the cart, then the horse pulls the cart. But when you put the horse behind the cart, you all just stand around like a bunch of fools. And I think that's what's going on here. Milk and Honey says, just over the drama, still lurking now and then. Well, I thought you got mad at me because of my response the other night. My neighbor got a call and he's gone. 2 weeks and his bottle store is closed. He's gone. He isn't replying to my WhatsApp. That's probably because he can't. He probably switched to a U.S. number. There you go, Milk and Honey. This is what I said will happen with the refugee program. As South Africa implodes, people will just disappear. It'll be like being in the Soviet Union, except they're not being sent to the gulag. They're coming to paradise. People just disappear. Your neighbors, the people down the street, that store, closed, gone. No, Nev, I didn't take it that way. Don't take offense. I know you didn't mean it that way. I'm saying your dad. I got that. Nev, I'm sorry. I got your intent. What I'm saying is that the way it came across from your dad, that's white people. No, it's like people can't say black people are all going to vote for the ANC. That's nonsense. That's bigotry. It's uninformed. Can't say white people are all going to vote for the DA. We know that's not the case. So yeah, no, it's cool. Just saying that it confirms. Nah, you didn't piss me off. You were wrong though, but couldn't send you the cream. I wasn't wrong. You didn't tell me the group. How can you tell me I'm wrong? You didn't tell me the group. Okay, Milk and Honey. Okay, folks, sit back, pull out the popcorn. Milk and Honey and I are going to get into it now. Dude, I just asked you for the group. You never gave it to me. You never gave me the group. Afrikaner King, known as Clip Drift. I was busy looking into a report today. Oh, the salary they make is crazy. Well, Flying Dutchman, I said on February 7th, in the first 10 minutes of my broadcast, beware of scammers, hucksters, shyster, and flim-flam men. They're coming after you. That's going to happen with this whole thing. So, it's 5 a.m. I didn't have my contacts admins, so that group got power trip. There's no stress, Milk and I just thought you disappeared. Glad to see you back. From Benoni, I can't wait for our call. Hey, someone mentioned me in Benoni. Away Borger, welcome to you. Wee Borger. Yeah, okay, just listen to the Colonel and go see all his videos on refugee program. When you get called in for an interview, do what people tell you to do. Others waiting, we wait. We will not go elsewhere. There you go. Baby, I'm Scotty. Yeah, guys, okay, so I have no doubt that someone will probably take what I said this morning and run off and tell Morning Shot that Chris Wyatt denigrated Byron Shepherd. I didn't even talk about Byron. He's not even part of this conversation. But you watch, somebody will do that. Or Wyatt attacked Ronaldo. Neither one of them are part of this conversation. At this point, probably somebody even come back, well, did you hear what Wyatt said about Big Daddy Liberty? I haven't talked about Big Daddy Liberty in about 4 months, but you watch. You watch, some cockprouder is going to run off and try to start some nonsense. See? Milk and honey. I'm calling Byron right now. Yeah, somebody's going to say that Wyatt attacked the Amerikaners. And I'll be honest, if you're Amerikaners and you're here listening, I'm frustrated with you guys. Sam, are you here? The others? How about a courtesy of contacting me? You have my contact. I promoted your group and told people about it once I found out about it when almost nobody knew about it. So how about the courtesy? Let me know. I'm the one that gets inundated with this crap. You know? Anyway. All right. So it's not the refugee program. Let's stop asking refugee questions. I'm not answering them now. People are here for the news. Over 1,000 people. It's time to get to the news. Okay. I just needed to address this because I have other responsibilities today. I got to go see the doctor for the first time after waiting 7 weeks and after seeing a physio 2 or 3 months ago in South Africa. I finally get to see a GP today who's going to refer me to an orthopedic surgeon most likely for an MRI. But anyway, so I've got other things to take care of today. Plus, I've got a video edited this morning about ANC propaganda war that's underway, and that's coming. I'm going to talk about Kumbuzu Nchiveni as well as Emma Powell, Cyril Ramaphosa. That's all coming in a video which is produced, but it has to be edited. So it's sitting here behind this screen, behind what I'm watching, in front of me. It's got all this stuff in it. So I've just got edited and posted. That's going to take me about 45 minutes minimum, and I got to get out of here after this is over to get to the dock. So one thing is for sure, South Africans have learned new words last 6 months. Docs, germane, refugee, persecution, asylum. Yeah, germane's one of them. Reticent, that's another word. Reticent. I think a lot of South Africans are not accustomed to the word reticent. Yep. What about incongruent? That's another big word I use. Big word alert. New expensive phone and max those credit cards. Low IQ is trying to abandon the debt. Yeah, no, Milk and Honey said his neighbor's just gone. Got a call, gone. Not reachable anymore. Doctor cannot wait. Doctor cannot wait. I get the crap question because most of us trust you. Well, thank you, Tanya. I would hope all of you trust me. But yeah, I get it. But it doesn't help when people publish things that they claim they're in the know and they don't share that. I did. Rob doesn't have a dog. It's a nice try. Yanni, I'm okay. The email address is here. Peter, maybe one of the mods can put it in there. That's right. Did you like that? I said, "Oh, you're way behind the chat in the video." Yeah, I did say you're leaving, Hades and you're coming to paradise. That's what you should be worried about. Yes. Okay. Artie says, "Yes, we do." Why? That's a good answer. Good answer, Artie. Ramaphosa must step down on Mandela Day. Ooh, the Mkoto we Seize Way party lays a marker out on the line. Look at this, folks. There's this party spokesman who's been suspended from Parliament. The MK party has called on President Ramaphosa to resign by Friday in honor of Mandela Day. The MK party calls on Ramaphosa and the government of national unity to respect the voice of the people before irreparable damage is done to South Africa's democratic institutions. The time for accountability and ethical leadership is now. Well, I agree. But let me tell you something. Ethical leadership and accountability will not come from MK party. They can't even run their own party. A bunch of rejects from the Zuma era. Yep. Andela said if Ramaphosa fails to comply with their demand, the party will pursue legal action, including approaching the Constitutional Court, initiating a motion of no confidence in Parliament, and mobilizing South Africans to engage in mass action. Well, one day from today, we'll see if they're serious. We'll see if they're serious. Will they actually do a vote of no confidence? Well, folks, if you watched Parliament yesterday, it was blistering. The impeached former High Court judge from the Western Cape, John Schlope, number 2 in the Vanity Party, known as MK, lambasted Cyril Ramaphosa, and some of the stuff he said was, whoa. Yep, a president broken beyond repair. Your couch swallowed millions. You claim to fight corruption. Your couch swallowed millions. You claim to fight corruption. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. Hate wankers, that's right. Dingbat doorknob, all things I gave you guys. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Hey, Bob, don't you dare. Bob, don't. Oh, he's out of mind of his own. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the appearance of the bugger off bunny. There he is. Bob made an appearance. He does that sometimes. He just pops up out of nowhere. Anyway, yeah, bugger off, Bob. So, today we stand here not to declare this chamber with decorate this chamber with empty words, but deliver a clear message of defiance and truth, said Schlope. We stand in absolute rejection of the vote on the presidency and the National Assembly budget. This is because we refuse to fund lies, hypocrisy, and a failed dream. Wow. He said the price of bread decides whether a child eats or goes to bed hungry, and where hope is more expensive than petrol. And he went on and on and on. He said Ramaphosa is the living, breathing embodiment of corruption. Ooh. Said SAPS is no longer a shield for the innocent. It has become a rented army protecting drug lords and criminal enterprises. Well, in some respects, that's true. This is true. Wow. So a broken, beyond repair president whose couch swallowed millions claims to fight corruption. Ouch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I talked about Khumbudzo Ntshavheni. That would be the cackling, smirking minister in the presidency who sat in the Oval Office and smirked the entire time that the Kill the Boer video was playing. She thought that was entertaining. The brutal torture and murder of South Africans, that entertained her. But Khumbudzo Ntshavheni is embarrassing herself yet again. On Tuesday, she announced that there's a threat of a coup in South Africa, but offered no evidence. But then said, don't worry, we're on top of it. We're on the scene. This, to me, is a clear effort to throw shade on Mkwanazi's allegations against Mkhunu and Sabia. That's what's going on here. The ANC is distracting, and they're jeopardizing the Republic with petty parochial political gains by discouraging foreign direct investment and frightening off tourists. Oh, Bob. Got him. I stopped him that time. He almost got through there. Almost got through. Yeah, so this is just nonsense, but this is Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, this incompetent, unprepared fool who sits in a ministerial position. The National Security Strategy Report for the period 2024-2028 has described South Africa as a stable and secure country despite coup d'etat, assassination, sabotage, corruption, terrorism being named among the key threats. There's potential risk of a coup d'etat. We've identified it and we put measures in place to mitigate against it. That's why we say South Africans, there will not be anyone attempting to do a coup. Oh, really? So just like you did on June 29th of 2021 in KwaZulu-Natal, or the 4th of July in 2021 when the Mui River Plaza was attacked and 100 trucks torched. Yeah, you were prepared for that, weren't you? Not. You have no credibility, and you're simply using this crass public platform to undermine the safety and integrity. The disinformation that the ANC accuses AfriForum, Solidarity, the DA, and Freedom Front Plus of, the treasonous behavior the MK and the ANC accuses AfriForum and Solidarity of, is the very behavior of the disinformation machine now churning out the propaganda from the ANC. Case in point, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni. This is treasonous behavior, what she did. Stupid. Unfortunate, ill-advised coup disclosure could hurt South Africa's image. But I thought it was Elon Musk who was hurting South Africa's image. I thought it was Donald Trump. I thought it was AfriForum and Solidarity. That's what all the media in South Africa have told us breathlessly with no evidence. That's what they all claim. Oh, they're spreading disinformation. Were they present in the meetings? No. Do they know what was said? No. But they're all running around claiming treason and disinformation. On the basis of what? Because those parties are in America and you can't get the time of day from a homeless person on the streets of D.C.? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is the ANC calling Uber or a taxi company. Yeah, we're over at the South African Embassy. Oh, South African Embassy, huh? No. They can't get an Uber in D.C., let alone an office call with the U.S. government. They can't. They had their chance and they blew it. Mr. President, have they told you where this is? I've never seen this before. To which Trump said, it's in South Africa, you dingbat doorknob. Wow. Ill-advised. This is the disinformation campaign now in full swing. 4 major stories in the past 24 hours attacking the opponents of the ANC regime. The Sisulu Foundation excoriates Khumbudzo Ntshavheni's coup remarks as deeply irresponsible and dangerous. To utter such claims on the parliamentary record without presenting evidence, without a public hearing, and without accountability is not merely careless, it verges on fear-mongering by executive design. Wow. You need to identify and mitigate against, is what Ntshavheni said. This is crazy. For a senior cabinet minister to casually mention potential coup risk without any supporting detail or national security update risk inciting fear and breeding suspicion. It projects instability even when none exist, and it reinforces the worst fears of many that this administration is willing to play loose with facts, weaponize paranoia, and erode democratic norms in a transparent but dangerous attempt to manage internal political fallout. Boom! Mic drop. They hit it on the head. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Using, as Minister Nsavini is constitutionally bound under Schedule 2 to be faithful to the Republic, uphold the Constitution, and serve with integrity, which is what the Foundation said. And she hasn't done that. Using her platform in Parliament to undermine a credible whistleblower, distort the national conversation, and deflect from political accountability is not only unethical, but also borders on a breach of her constitutional duty to act in the public interest. Boom! Wow. Unbelievable. This is wow. It's the Walter and Albertina Sisulu Foundation, ANC's own institutions, attacking this fool. Yes, Jacobus Olaf, I did listen to the debate between Corné Mulder and Willy Okamp on Newspot, and Corné Mulder wiped the floor with Willy Okamp. By the way, Willy Okamp, if you're going to cough all the time, dude, turn your microphone off. That was very distracting. He kept coughing, clearing his throat when Corné Mulder was speaking. No, I'm not a subscriber of, well, I think I am to Tusi, the Iranian. Why, you ask? Why do you ask? Democratic Alliance is urging Ramaphosa to protect Emma Powell. I reported on this story earlier today. It hasn't got many views. The disinformation campaign against DA's member of Parliament, Emma Powell. DA urges Ramaphosa to protect MP Powell amid allegations of disinformation. The disinformation is coming from Kumbuzo Nchiveni and the ANC, not from Emma Powell. The DA has pleaded with President Ramaphosa to take urgent steps to protect Powell, making a preemptive request in case a national security threat implicates her in any way. How could it implicate her? She hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything. On Wednesday evening, DA lawyers wrote to Ramaphosa demanding answers about how the media obtained the report. We confirm that notwithstanding the fact that our client was not afforded sight of any of the accusations purported findings contained in the confidential report, she denies any wrongdoing of any nature during her time abroad. Yep, it's an offense to leak classified information. It appears that members of the intelligence service and non-members have disclosed classified information, including to a newspaper. And then the newspaper refused to share that report with a member of parliament who they accused. And just like the Ronaldo Jose case, they called her off the cuff and said, "Can we have a comment?" She's like, "Comment on what?" On this report. What report? Well, this classified report that we have our hands on. Can I see it? No. Well, how the hell do you expect Emma Powell to comment on something you won't show her? And who are you clowns? Of course they're looking for a scapegoat. They're looking for a scapegoat because South Africa is imploding. And if you watch my video later on, let me see, I put some notes here. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, so this is the bottom line here. This is the bottom line. So I'm going to quote once again the Walter and Albertina Sisulu Foundation. Using her platform in Parliament to undermine a credible whistleblower, distort the national conversation, deflect from political accountability is not only unethical, but it also borders on a breach of the constitutional duty to act in the public interest. That's what they said. Now, this is named after stalwarts in the Liberation era, Walter and Albertina Sisulu. In fact, you drive the R21 as you come down to Tambo Airport, and it's the Albertina Sisulu Highway. But folks, we can actually all see what's going on here, right? The ANC is prepping the ground to sow doubt over Mkwenazi's allegations against Senzo Mkuna. While the ANC and MK toss around nonsensical treason allegations against AfriForum and Solidarity for simply telling the truth, and then a smear campaign against Emma Powell rises over her stating the truth, the real action is the huge ANC cover-up happening under our very eyes. South Africa's economy is imploding, and only those losing their jobs seem to be taking notice. Soon the rest of you will notice, and it'll be too late. 30% tariffs arrive on August 1st. With President Trump's global 25% tariffs on auto imports in effect since early April, South Africa's auto industry is already reeling, having dropped from 9,700 autos exported to the U.S. a year ago in the most recent reporting period to just 1,100 this year, and that's going to go down even further. That's an 87% decline year over year. One would think that, like dozens of other countries, with these crippling tariffs just days away, the ANC would be in the United States frantically working on a trade deal. But no, the Deputy President Paul Mashatile and 6 cabinet ministers plus a deputy minister are in China for an entire week, licking the boots of their communist overlords, begging for access to the Chinese market, which the Chi-Coms are never going to give them access to. Folks, just another brick in the wall. Just another brick in the wall. And that's the bottom line here. That's the bottom line. Likes. Someone wanted to know how the number of likes. Number of likes is 638. 1,300 people here. Thank you all for being here, 1,300 people. Yeah, it's insane. Well, look, folks, people are piling on. Ramaphosa is becoming as popular as syphilis. He really is. Yeah, syphilis might be more popular because you can cure syphilis. You can't cure Cyril Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa will die if he lives to be 80. He'll die in jail, says political analyst Paul Prince Mashele. Political analyst Prince Mashele says President Ramaphosa will be remembered as one of the most ineffectual presidents in post-apartheid South Africa. He predicts that if the president lives long enough, say he touches 80, he'll die in jail. It was an interview on Mpofu Walsh's podcast. Mpofu Walsh, who had no time for me. Yep. Criminal-in-chief, the head of a criminal organization, the ANC. Wow. Cyril Ramaphosa will go down in history as one of the most useless presidents we have had after 1994, and I don't mince my words, useless. Zuma will go down in history as the most criminal, but let's park that. We've dealt with Zuma many times. There's a criminal organization, the criminal in chief, it's President Ramaphosa himself. Wow, I haven't seen the interview. Wow. The Inkatha Freedom Party managed to retain a municipal seat in Freiheit despite a scuffle with police. The IFP retained Ward 23 in a fiercely contested by-election in Freiheit in northern KZN on Wednesday. The position became vacant a few months ago after the death of IFP ward councillor Zolani Zungu. The IFP got 1,559 votes, while the ANC got 648, followed by MK with 567, the EFF with 188, and the Labour Party with 68. The EFF, 188 votes. 188 votes. It's not even 10%. 1,500, 1,200, 2,500, 100, it's about 7%. 6 or 7%. Useless party. Overworked, underpaid, and ignored. FlySAF Air pilots voice their concerns amid ongoing salary negotiation deadlock. Well, boy, sort this out before my next trip to South Africa. I rely heavily on FlySAF Air to get from one place to another. So get this sorted out. I don't like driving through the Free State and someone putting spikes out on the road. Next thing you know, I gotta shoot a couple people. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Nigel Owens has it out for the Springboks. The most famous rugby official ever from Wales, Nigel, says the Springboks should have been penalized for hoisting a player in the air. Well, that's a gray area, Nigel, and I disagree. I disagree. Angola protests are getting violent, folks, over the price of petrol. Angolan police cracked down anti-government protesters in Luanda, injuring several and arresting at least one demonstrator. Citizens protested rising fuel prices, poor public services, and the long-ruling MPLA government. Well, yeah, they've been in power since 1975 when they took Luanda. And they beat the SADF there. They beat UNITA there. They beat the FNLA in the field. And they occupied Luanda and have been there ever since. Well, the French army departs Senegal, the end of a French presence in virtually all of Africa. France, which once had 6 infantry battalions stationed in Africa, most in West Africa, and 1 in the Central African Republic, 2 in the Ivory Coast, 1 in Senegal, 1 in Djibouti, and where was the other one at? I can't remember. I think it might have been Chad or Mali. Anyway, it's 6 infantry battalions based in West African Francophone countries and in Djibouti. Did I say Central African Republic? Yeah. They have nothing except a base left in Djibouti. Now the French have completely withdrawn after 65 years of occupying with their military. French army leaves Senegal, ending military presence in West Africa. The move follows pressure from the Senegalese president, who wants all foreign troops out by 2025. French Army's 65-year stay in independent Senegal ended with this pullout, which came after similar withdrawals across the continent, former colonies increasingly turning their backs on their former rulers. The move comes as the Sahel region faces a growing jihadist conflict across Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger that is threatening the wider West Africa region. It's an important turning point in the rich and long military journey of our two countries. Well, that's the end of the French presence in Senegal. We'll see what happens. The Israeli situation is becoming quite the crisis with their attacks in Syria, spiraling. Israeli warplanes struck military headquarters and near the presidential palace on Wednesday as sectarian clashes in the southern part of the country quickly spiraled into a crisis for Syria's new government. Israel said it intervened to stop government attacks on the Druze, a religious minority that spans the border between the two countries. And here, of course, are the locations with substantial Druze populations. They live in Lebanon, Israel, and Syria, and a few in Jordan. So they're defending the Druze. The United Kingdom and Germany signed a defense treaty pledging joint missile development and expanded arms exports. They claim it will reinforce NATO, but this is outside NATO. Why are Germany and the United Kingdom creating a defense treaty outside the sphere of NATO? They're both NATO members. This is undermining NATO, just like when the Germans and French formed the Franco-German Corps in the European Union Defense Force. Yeah. United Kingdom and Germany will sign a defense cooperation treaty as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz arrives in London for his first official visit. The new treaty builds on last year's agreement between the two nations to boost defense exports to Ukraine, of course. Yep. Europe has accelerated defense investment and cooperation since President Trump's return to the White House. Yep. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has absolutely lost its mind. It's lost its mind. The idiotic notion that a 16-year-old is mature enough and old enough to decide who rules a country is beyond moronic. But the United Kingdom's leftist, that's what they want to do. The UK plans to lower the voting age to 16. The largest expansion of voting rights in Britain in decades. British government said on Thursday it would allow 17 and 16-year-olds to vote in what it called a landmark moment for democracy. It's not a landmark moment for democracy. It's going to dilute democracy. Britain has 1.6 million people aged 16 or 17 and a population of 68 million. The plan has been described as the country's largest expansion in decades. The last nationwide reduction to 18 from 21 occurred 50 years ago. Declining trust in our institutions, democracy itself has become critical, but it's responsible government to turn this around and renew our democracy, just as generations have done before us, said Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. Well, she's an idiot. Several nations allow 16-year-olds votes, including Austria, Malta, and Brazil, while in Greece the voting age is 17. Others allow 16-year-olds to participate only in some elections. In Germany and Belgium, they can help choose members of the European Parliament, but they cannot vote in federal elections. This is idiotic. Is 16 a standard age limit in Britain? The government points out that 16-year-olds in Britain can leave school, work, pay taxes, and join the military. 16-year-olds can join the military? I find that implausible. Critics of the voting age change note that 18 is a legal minimum age to run as a candidate in an election, to take part in armed conflict in the military, to marry, and to buy alcohol. Yeah, so you're going to let people who can't buy alcohol or smoke cigarettes legally vote. These are stupid people. Stupid people. The United Kingdom is run by fools. Russia threatens Greenland. Wow. And you wonder why Trump wants Greenland? Well, it's because of the threat of Russia, and here it becomes quite pronounced. Russian envoy says military response possible if tensions escalate over Greenland. Russia's ambassador to Denmark on Thursday warned that armed conflict over Greenland could have a negative impact on the Arctic, but that his government is prepared to take action in the resource-rich territory that President Trump wants to annex. The conflict around Greenland will certainly have a detrimental effect on regional security, said Vladimir Barbin. This will require Russia to take military tactical measures adequate to the emerging threat. The emerging threat? The emerging threat? The emerging threat is Russia. It's like the bank robbers saying, this bank needs to be secured. We're going to protect it. European energy giants decide to buy liquefied natural gas from the United States. Look at that. The Trump administration has been pushing the EU to buy more gas. Italian energy company Eni has inked an agreement to buy liquefied natural gas from the U.S. Eni will purchase 2 million tons per year for 20 years, with offtake starting by the end of the decade. Wow. It's Eni's first long-term LNG supply from the U.S. and represents a significant milestone in Eni's strategy to expand and diversify its global LNG footprint. Well, there you go. New details emerge in the Air India crash probe and shifting the focus to the senior pilot. The black box recording and report details indicate the flight's captain switched off the fuel flow to engines. The guy with 15,000 hours behind his stick is the one who inadvertently turned off the fuel? No, this can't be. It's impossible. New details in the probe last month's Air India crash are shifting the focus to the senior pilot. The black box recording of dialogue between the flight's two pilots indicates it was the captain who turned off switches that controlled fuel flowing to the plane's two engines. The first officer was flying the Boeing 787 Dreamliner asked the more experienced captain why he moved the switches to the cutoff position after it climbed off the runway. The first officer expressed surprise and then panic. These people said, and the captain seemed to remain calm because he was committing suicide. Is that what they're trying to claim? He was trying to off himself? A preliminary report in the probe released last week summarized the exchange, but it didn't identify which pilot said what. The report by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau like our National Transportation Safety Board, said one pilot asked the other why he moved the switches. Now we know that it was the captain who turned the fuel off. The new details could add to the understanding of the sequence of events that led to the tragedy and the actions of the pilots, both of whom grew up with dreams of flying. The captain, Sumit Subawal, was a decades-long veteran, while the first officer, Clive Kundar, was in his early 30s and eager for the next stage of his career. As the pilot actively flying, Kundar likely would have had his hands full pulling back on the Dreamliner's controls at that stage of the flight, according to U.S. pilots who've read the Indian authorities' report. Subawal, as the pilot monitoring, would have been more likely to have had his hands free as he oversaw the operation. The switches were moved in succession 1 second apart, according to the report. So it was intentional. They weren't both knocked over at the same time. One was turned off, and then a second later the other was turned off, according to Black Box. Wow. Wow. Preliminary details have fueled the belief that some U.S. officials at criminal authorities should review the matter, as would likely be the case a crash occurred on American soil would be a criminal case. Wow. It's pretty scary. So here's an image of the 787 fuel switch right there. The switch locked in place. In order to turn it off, you have to move the cutoff position spring-loaded and pull it up and then pull it down to cut off. Wow. Well, the House will vote on the Senate's $9 billion rescission package that stripped out the PEPFAR money. The bill will claw back $9 billion in congressionally approved spending passed by the Senate over the objections of Republicans. Yep. The Senate's overnight 51-48 vote came over the objections of 2 Republicans who argued that their party was ceding congressional control over federal funding. Untrue. The bulk of the funds, $8 billion, was for foreign assistance programs. The remaining $1.1 billion was for Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which funds National Public Radio and the Public Broadcasting Service. Thank goodness we're cutting funding for that. Trump lashes out at weaklings who believe the Epstein BS amid building GOP pressure to release the documents. Oh, this is becoming quite the story. Trump is accusing some of his one-time supporters of being weaklings who are falling prey to Democratic BS about the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, concluding that he no longer wants their support. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. Wow. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for the long 8 years. Trump has had enough of this. U.S. retail sales are growing. They're growing. People shop at a store in Elk Ridge, Maryland. Look at this image here. Arabs, Indians, none of those people lived in Elk Ridge. I know Elk Ridge. None of those people lived in Elk Ridge 20 years ago. And now look at that. That's the majority of people standing in line. Foreigners, Mexicans, Latin Americans, Indians, Arabs, invading Elk Ridge, Maryland. Consumers' appetite for spending rebounded in June following a pullback the previous month. Retail sales surged at a higher than expected pace of 0.6% in June, according to the Commerce Department. Excluding cars and auto parts, retail sales jumped by 0.5%. Consumers seem to be over the tariff shock in April and are back at it with spending, says Jamie Cox, the Harris Financial Group. Yes, the economy is humming along despite Jerome Powell's efforts to destroy it. Now, this is something, so these people that are obsessed with the Epstein files, they just have to know about the Epstein files. Everything's about Epstein, 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 Epstein. To me, Epstein is the dude from Welcome Back, Kotter. Mr. Kotter! Julio Epstein. That's Epstein to me. Yeah. So, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, the Taiwanese-born CEO of NVIDIA, is selling out America, and he's doing it with Trump's consent. Selling us down the river to Chinese communists, exposing our high technology to the Chi-Coms openly, and Trump's okay with it. This is a bigger story than Epstein. With the help of longtime Silicon Valley investor turned White House insider, Mr. Huang got the administration to reverse course on restrictions. How NVIDIA's Jensen Huang persuaded Trump to sell artificial intelligence chips to the Chinese communists. This guy is treasonous. In April, Jensen Huang, the chief executive of the chip maker NVIDIA, received a blunt welcome to the world of geopolitics when the Trump administration shut down sales on artificial intelligence chip the company had designed specifically for China. Since then, he's turned himself into a globe-trotting negotiator. He's tried to persuade Trump to reverse course. The work is paying off. Last week, he met with Mr. Trump and pressed for a case for restarting sales of his specialized chips, said 2 people familiar with the meeting. Within days, NVIDIA said the administration was changing course, betraying America. There you go, folks. There you go. Real issues. While Candace Owens and Tim Pool and the Hodge twins are busy navel-gazing and desperate to hear the salacious details of the Epstein files, real things are happening. We're being sold down the river. We're being sold down the river. You want to be upset about Trump? Be upset about arming Ukraine. Be upset about selling AI chips to China, both of which Trump approved of. That's something that's real. Those are real issues. Those are real issues, not Epstein. A bunch of nonsense. The Justice Department is fired looking just like her daddy, daughter of James Comey. Maureen looks just like daddy. Daughter of former FBI Director James Comey worked in the cases of Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs. Well, that was a terrible outcome. The state didn't prove their case very well there, did they now? Justice Department fired federal prosecutor Maureen Comey, daughter of former FBI Director and treasonous bastard James Comey. Comey's the daughter of FBI Director, became prominent critic of President Trump when he betrayed his constitutional oath. The reason for her firing wasn't immediately clear, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, where she worked for a decade, declined to comment. So who knows? She's probably committing some sort of misconduct, would be my expectation, but we don't know. We'll have to find out. Coca-Cola dodges the point. Trump says they're going to go back to putting actual sugar, cane sugar, in their cesspool drink Coca-Cola and restore it to its taste instead of high fructose corn syrup. But they say, not so fast. Coca-Cola dodges after Trump says soda will switch back to cane sugar. Asked about the switch, a representative of Coca-Cola in Atlanta did not explicitly say they would use cane sugar for products in the U.S. Trump said Wednesday afternoon on Truth Social that he had been speaking to Coca-Cola about using cane sugar in the sodas sold in the United States, and the company agreed to his idea. This will be a very good move by them. You'll see. It's just better. Well, we will see. That way I don't have to buy my Coke from Mexico, which has doubled in price in the past 2 years, thanks to Joe Biden. The United States is set to destroy 500 tons of taxpayer-funded emergency food, which is sitting overseas. The United States meant destroying nearly 500 tons of U.S. taxpayer-funded emergency food meant for starving people around the world. The high-energy, nutrient-dense biscuits have been sitting for months in a warehouse in Dubai. Now, because they expire this month, they will have to be destroyed, an extra $100,000. They will not be destroyed. You just give them away. That's a shelf life. That doesn't mean they're not good. And they've been there for months. The president's only been president for 6 months. These biscuits couldn't have expired in 6 months. This is definition of waste, a former official has said. Before the administration disbanded USCD, citing alleged waste and fraud, personnel would have kept track of the expiration dates of food, and the food, as the dates approached, they would have contacted colleagues to see who needed it. Well, to me, it tells you the irresponsible nature of the USAID folks and not putting the word out and getting these things shipped before they quit their jobs or were fired. That's irresponsible. They should have dealt with that. That's what responsible people do. Trump insists that the Epstein thing is a hoax, and here's what his supporters are saying. Some have called out Trump. Now, I'm curious because this looks suspiciously like Viva Fry. Viva Fry is Canadian. We don't care what he says. He has no impact on this. Go back to Canada. Go cover the truckers' strike. That's where you got famous. Yeah. Others said no further action was necessary. And then some blamed outside forces. Some blamed or put pressure on the Trump administration. The crimes and death of Jeffrey Epstein, the financier and convicted sex offender who died in prison while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges, have long fed conspiracy theories among some of President Trump's most ardent supporters. Their interest has reached a crescendo over the past week after the Trump administration abruptly reversed course on its pledge to disclose previously unknown details about the investigation. In an unsigned memo, the Justice Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation said the investigation turned up no evidence that Mr. Epstein kept a client list or blackmailed notable people, and confirmed he died by suicide. But they're not happy about that. The Justice Department's investigation was complete. No further action necessary. That would be Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Dinesh D'Souza, Kash Patel, and President Trump. Yep. The Trump administration is responsible for perceived lack of transparency. A whole bunch of representatives in Congress, Chad Prather, Matt Walsh, Lisa Wheeler, Jack Probisak, Charlie Kirk, Benny Johnson, all social media influencers who've never accomplished anything in their life, from what I can see. Yep. And Mr. Trump himself bears some responsibility. Roseanne Barr, Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson, Mike Cernovich, Michael Flynn, David Freiheit, Viva Fry, Canadian, don't care, go back to Canada, Alex Jones, Elon Musk, Chad Prather, and Wayne Allen Root. Who? Anyway, and the viewpoint that forces outside the administration are responsible. Bannon, Roseanne Barr, Tim Burchett. Roseanne Barr covers both Tucker Carlson, Dinesh D'Souza. Well, so these people wind up in both windows. There's not clear cut. But none of them are complaining about NVIDIA getting artificial intelligence chips. None of them are complaining about the cover-up of the Secret Service about who tried to murder Trump last year and why for 10 days the Secret Service withheld classified information of a credible threat at that event on that date, the president's life, and why the detail was 3 times as large for the first lady in Pittsburgh than it was for the former President Butler. Yeah, no one's concerned about that. They just want to know about Epstein. Legally here since 1999, thousands of criminal alien invaders have 60 days to leave. In September, the Department of Homeland Security will end temporary protection. Okay, I'm sorry, they're not criminal alien invaders. These people came here at the invitation of others. 50,000 Hondurans and Nicaraguans have been here for decades. They are nurses, mechanics, sanitation workers, executives. They've fallen in love, bought houses, raised children. They've opened restaurants, construction companies, paid tax, contributed to Social Security, living and working legally in the United States since 1999. Now, more than 50,000 Hondurans and Nicaraguans stand to abruptly lose their legal status. The Trump administration seeks to end their protections in place since the Clinton era under a temporary protected status program. Well, folks, the problem is that it's temporary, and these people refused to go home when it was safe to go home, and the government looked the other way. So they got away with illegally being here all these years. Sorry, you got to go. My life here has been in the Bay Area, said Johnny Silva, a certified nursing assistant from Honduras who is suing the Trump administration. He was brought here as a toddler in 1998. Well, you're not legal. Go home, buddy. Go home. I've been doing everything the right way this whole time. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Why didn't you apply for citizenship? You've been here long enough. Why didn't you apply for a permanent green card? You've been here long enough. You're 29. You've had 11 years since you reached the age of majority. And you came as a toddler. So that meant you were here for 16 years. So you met the residency requirement at the age of 18. You should have started paperwork instead of being a cheap bastard. Adam Schiff's got a mortgage crisis. Yeah, he's being accused of corruption. The type of mortgage fraud case in which Adam Schiff is entangled, usually clear-cut and hard to escape, say financial crimes experts. Mr. Schiff has been referred to the Justice Department for prosecution regarding mortgage documents, in which he claimed primary residences in 2 states and gained financial advantage from doing so. The California Demon Rat is alleged to have falsified bank documents and property records by designating the home he owns with his wife in Potomac, Maryland, as her primary residence. This designation reduced their mortgage payments from 2013 to 2019. Because Schiff represents California in the Senate, and before that, the California District in the House, his primary residence must be in that state. Indeed, during the same period, Schiff took a tax exemption on a condo in Burbank by claiming it was his primary residence, saving himself $7,000. Borrowers can get lower mortgage rates by designating the home as a primary residence instead of the secondary home. It's a sharp reversal of fortune for the criminal Mr. Schiff, the outspoken liar about President Trump who championed his prosecution on business fraud charges. Last year, Schiff accused Republicans of sacrificing their integrity to support Trump. Yeah, well, he is a crook. And we've known it all along. He's also a pathological liar. And so he led the charge against Trump, covering up his own crimes. Minnesota gets its own Mamdani, this wackadoodle lunatic, the evil spawn of immigrants from Somalia born in Washington, D.C., Omar Fattah, a radical Islamic fanaticist, is on path to be the next mayor of Minneapolis. And because people question his pro-jihad views, he's facing anti-black, anti-Islamic backlash. Well, he's not black. He's Somali. He's not black. He's Somali. And he's creepy. And it's not Islamophobic. Minneapolis politicians rally to defend Omar Fattah after Charlie Kirk attacks him. So, yeah. An Army veteran, U.S. citizen, was arrested in California. Immigration raid warns it could have happened to anyone. Yeah. A U.S. Army veteran was arrested during an immigration raid at Southern California marijuana farm last week. Said Wednesday he was sprayed with tear gas and pepper spray before being dragged from his vehicle and pinned down by federal agents. Well, I was sprayed with tear gas as a journalist covering the events of January 6th. I'm not whining about it. George Rates, 25, who works as a security guard at Glass House in Camarillo, said he was arriving for work on July 10th when several federal agents surrounded his car and, despite him identifying himself as a U.S. citizen, broke his window, peppered, sprayed him, and dragged him out. How did you identify yourself as a U.S. citizen if your window was up? Kind of hard to hear people through a window. Took 2 officers to nail my back and then one my neck to arrest me, even though my hands were already behind my back. The Ventura City native was detained during chaotic raids. Federal authorities arrested more than 360 people. Rates was taken to the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, where he said he was put in a special cell on offering himself watch and checked on each day after he became emotionally distraught over his ordeal and missing his 3-year-old daughter's birthday party Saturday. He said federal agents never told him why he was arrested or allowed him to contact a lawyer and his family during 3-day detention. Authorities never let him shower or change clothes despite being covered in tear gas and pepper spray. On Sunday, an officer had him sign a paper and walked out of the detention center. He said he was told he faced no charges. George Rates was arrested and has been released. He has not been charged. The Attorney General is reviewing, U.S. Attorney's Office reviewing the case along with dozens of others, potential federal charges related to the execution of a federal search warrant. Yeah, so he's going to sue federal authorities. The way they're going about this, the entire deportation process is completely wrong. Chasing people who are just working, especially trying to feed everyone. Well, dude, you just expose yourself as a fraud. You just expose yourself as a fraud. You know that criminal alien invaders are there, and what are you defending and protecting them? That's a criminal act, so maybe you should be charged. I want everyone to know what happened. This doesn't just affect one person. It doesn't matter if your skin is brown. It doesn't matter if you're white. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran, if you serve this country. They don't care. They're trying to fill a quota. No, they're trying to remove dangerous criminals from our nation, Mr. Ritz, and you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. It doesn't mean what happened to you was right, but your response to it is inappropriate. You can sue them. That's an appropriate response, but lying about it is not good. Star-crossed singer Connie Francis, whose hits included Pretty Little Baby, has died at the age of 87. Connie Francis, the wholesome pop star of the 50s and 60s, whose hits include Pretty Little Baby, would later serve as an iconic title for a personal life filled with heartbreak and tragedy, has died at the age of 87. She was a top performer from the pre-Beatles era, rarely off the charts from 1957 to 64, able to appeal to both young and adults. She had more than a dozen top 20 hits, starting with Who's Sorry Now, and included number one songs Don't Break the Heart That Loves You, The Heart Has a Mind of Its Own. Like other teen favorites of her time, she starred in several films, including Where the Boys Are and Follow the Boys. The dark-haired singer was 17 when she signed a contract with MGM Records after several TV variety shows. By then, she had released her version of Who's Sorry Now. Initially had little success until Dick Clark played on his American Bandstand in 1958. Francis followed up with such hits as Stupid Cupid, Everybody's Somebody's Fool, Lipstick on Your Collar. Her records became hits worldwide as she re-recorded versions of original songs in Italian and Spanish, among other languages. Meanwhile, a romance bloomed with fellow teen idol Bobby Darin, who had volunteered to write songs for her. But when her father heard rumors the pair were planning a wedding, he stormed into the rehearsal and pulled a gun on Darin, ending the relationship and seeming to get Francis on a pained and traumatic path. My personal life is a regret from A to Z, she told the Associated Press in 1984, the year a book came out. I realized I had allowed my father to exert too much influence over me. Her father, George Franconero, was a roofing contractor from New Jersey who played the accordion. He and his daughter had his daughter learn this as soon as she began to show an aptitude for music. When she was 4, she began booking singing dates. Although her acting career faded by the mid-'60s, she was still popular on the concert circuit when she appeared at the Westbury Music Center in New York in 1974. She had returned to her hotel room and was asleep when a man broke in and raped her at knife point. He was never captured. Francis sued the hotel, alleging security was faulty, and a jury awarded her $2.5 million in 1976. The two sides then settled out of court for $1.475 as an appeal was pending. The attack destroyed her marriage and put her through years of emotional turmoil. She suffered tragedy in 1981. Her brother George was shot to death as he was leaving his New Jersey home. Later in the decade, her father had her committed to a mental institution where she was diagnosed as manic depressive. At one point, she attempted suicide by swallowing dozens of sleeping pills. She spent 3 days in a coma. She was married 4 times and would say that her third husband, Joseph Garzilli, was worth the trouble. The other marriages each lasted less than a year. Conchetta Rosmi Franconero was born on December 12, 1937, in Newark, New Jersey. She was just 3 when her father presented her with a child-sized accordion. Next year, she began singing and playing the instrument at various public events. At the age of 9, she began appearing in television programs, including Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts and The Perry Como Show. It was Godfrey who suggested she shorten her last name. Clark featured her repeatedly on American Bandstand, and she said later years that without his support, she would have abandoned her music career. Wow. Connie Francis, dead at 87. Well, the Californians, there's not enough problems in California. Now they want to reintroduce grizzly bears. Grizzly bears. Push to rewild over 1,000 grizzly bears in California sparks concerns. A push by the California Grizzly Alliance to rewild nearly 1,200 grizzly bears in California is concerning conservationists who say the idea is impractical and dangerous in such a densely populated state. The Alliance, a coalition of environmental groups, wildlife advocates, and tribal leaders, states its goal is to recover grizzly bears in California. It released a feasibility study in April stating the state could sustain 1,183 grizzly bears, assuming that grizzlies could not live outside these 3 areas, which include 832 bears in the Sierra Nevada, 238 in Northwest Forest, and 115 in the Traverse Range north of Los Angeles. Wow. Yikes. I find it very unfortunate and saddening that California grizzly no longer exists. I love the idea of grizzlies living in California once again, but I have very grave concerns. There's no getting along with grizzlies. Because grizzlies need tremendous amounts of habitat and prey to survive, hunters and conservationists are worried native deer and elk populations couldn't sustain cohabitation with these bears. A grizzly has not been spotted in the wilds of the Golden State since 1924. These animals bring a lot of emotions, and for a lot of people, it's fear. The study concludes that recovering grizzly bears in California is very likely biologically feasible. The success of the recovery program depends on people's willingness to undertake it. The most important habitat for grizzlies, as people who have dedicated their lives to studying and protecting bears often say, is not some data set, it's in people's hearts. Yeah, okay. The California Grizzly Alliance feasibility study concludes that grizzlies are no longer in imminent danger of extinction in the lower 48 states, but that the current recovery program doesn't ensure long-term survival of the bears, nor is it conceived, designed, or equipped to achieve meaningful recovery south of the Canadian border. The Alliance credits the Holdfast Collective, a nonprofit entity that owns 98% of clothing brand Patagonia, for the generous funding of its work. Yeah, of course, Patagonia. Oh, man. These people are crazy. Reintroducing grizzly bears into California most likely set them up for unavoidable, inescapable human conflict. Stephen Gonzalez, spokesperson, California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Exactly. State has many pressing fish and wildlife priorities, such as recovering salmon populations, existing endangered species, but grizzly bears are not among them, said Gonzalez. Yep, I agree with him. These people, insane. Insane. And there you have it, folks. We're down to 971. I think people disappeared to go watch some of their broadcasts. Thank you. Seems like Yogi Bear's been busy. Indeed. You can't make this stuff up, Bill. You can't make it up. Stupid people doing stupid things. On the camping sites at Kings Canyon Reserve, where we camp, you have a bear box to put all your food in. Don't leave it. Well, when I was in the Wind River Range in Wyoming, we have to put something out to keep the bears off. You have to put electricity, high voltage electricity fence around your food cache and keep everything in containers so they don't come there. Yep. If I was president of South Africa, you never want to leave, says Niv. Okay. Too bad I'm not, but I value my citizens. Okay. Remember the days when SAF Air flew from Swartkops to Grootfontein? No, I don't know, Steve. I didn't know that. Plain and simple, just follow policeman orders when you pull over. Exactly. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but yes. In Tokozo, I agree with ANC. We'll get what is coming to them, but before that, we'll... Okay. Bears look scary as heck. Wouldn't want to... Yeah, they're fast. You can't climb a tree. Bears climb trees. You can't outrun them. They're faster than humans. Yeah, you see a bear, your best move is to freeze or have a big elephant gun. To all the people who have left South Africa or plans after the ANC gets booted, please consider coming back should things gradually improve. Until Kostas, I'm just instilling hope to you folks from all walks of life. Yes, we have an effed up country, but there's a huge shift soon. These ANC crooks will face music. Well, yeah, but who will replace them? MK? That's not better. EFF? That's worse. South Africa can legally be held in jail for 72 hours. No charge against you. No, you can't do that in the U.S. I think you get 48 hours to hold someone without charging. Maybe under immigration law, they can hold you 72 hours. I don't know. If you resist the police, that's why they would use pepper spray. Yeah, see, here's the thing. All right, cops come up. Step out of the car. They aren't going to start cuffing you. And if they start cuffing you, say, excuse me, sir, I'm an American citizen. My identification's in my wallet. My retired military ID card's in the wallet. I'm an American citizen. Why are you arresting me? I haven't done anything. But something tells me he was obstinate. Just from the things he's talking about after the fact. He was obstinate in troublemaking. That's probably what happened here. That's what I think. Ports in South Africa, nightmare to deal with. I import from USA for business, and there are constant delays and problems. Yes, Dawn, the ports in South Africa are the worst in the world. 78 countries rated by the organization that rates port operations, and South Africa is dead last. Dead last. Worse than Nairobi. Or not Nairobi, excuse me, Mombasa. Strauss, what's going on? YouTube ditched me during Colonel an India air crash. An expert captain on YouTube said other pilots said the pilot was depressed because his mom died and his father wasn't doing so well. Could be. I don't know, Karen. I don't have that information. Yeah, if you comply with law enforcement, then you shouldn't have a problem. Leona Watley, what would the temporary asylum seekers not seek green card or citizenship? Is it a tax dodge? I don't know, Leona. Maybe they're not allowed to do that under temporary protected status. But if they're not allowed to do it, then the system fails them, because you shouldn't allow them to sit in limbo all this time. The Liberians, they should be worried next. They've been here 35 years. They should start being nervous that they haven't gone home. Alts is here. Okay. Enemy. Expected the NVIDIA deal throw. Some did argue instead of shutting China out, they build their own. Some mentioned to keep China dependent on a different model. Yeah, that's the argument. Keep it dependent on a different model. If China wasn't as advanced as they are, I'd say that's fine. But they're just simply going to reverse engineer it and then improve it quickly. The Durban port needs to be upgraded. The railway is broken. I'm worried if they bring out the Epstein documents, it won't satisfy people and cost Republicans. Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. They've already see, that's the thing. On February 23rd, they released Epstein documents. They're not talking about that. February 23rd, the Trump administration Department of Justice released a binder full of Epstein documents, and all these so-called right-wing influencers were there, holding it up. Scott Presto was there, holding it up. They're all, look at this, we got it. And now they're just complaining. Yep. Very nice. We are waiting for phase 2 of the Epstein files. Epstein's phone book and his client list. It's a website, lords and ladies, right and center. Well, keep waiting, Barry. The grass is not always greener. In Austria, it's okay, but there are signs in that decline. Yeah, Österreich also got a bunch of illegals in it. You know why I think first world countries need us to remember what happened to the Suez Canal some time ago? Well, I think something way bigger than that will occur. Okay, so Ntokozo, sorry, I don't know who you are, and I'm not attacking you, but let me just blow that analysis out of the water. When the ship hit the side of the Suez Canal and it shut it down for a period of days, instead of a year, which it said it was going to be originally, ships did divert from the Red Sea around South Africa, but they didn't stop in South Africa. Your ports are atrocious. There was no financial gain from that whatsoever for South Africa, none. They all just went right around the Cape of Good Hope. You get no benefit from that. Let me ask you this question, not just you, but let me ask everybody. What benefit do you get from ships traveling on the open international waters around your country? Nothing. In fact, you incur a cost because you have an obligation to provide search and rescue, to monitor maritime traffic, and also to patrol the sea lanes. So you actually have a financial burden when more ships come through there. Of course, South Africa's not living up to that burden because they can't put any ships at sea. So, yeah. So there was no benefit. That's a faulty analysis. Oh, because the Suez Canal is gone, we're going to get money from it. No, you're not. People pay to transit the canal. They don't pay to go around the Cape of Good Hope. Look, I'm not making fun of my audience, but does somebody think that there's a South African naval vessel out there going, stop, 1 million rand. Okay, you can continue the ship now. There's no toll. Nobody's stopping in your ports. Your ports are atrocious. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. If they hadn't allowed the ports to get in such poor state, then companies could plan on stopping there. This isn't, Jan van Riebeck in 1652 when the Navy larger than the current South African Navy showed up operationally off the Cape of Good Hope and established a permanent settlement there. And then people came and got their nutrition to avoid scurvy by stopping there, rest and refit. Nobody needs to rest and refit in Cape Town. They don't need to. Daryl, my brother got the same email and also got the call this morning. Yes, the exact guy who signed off the email was the guy who called me. Okay. I live in Central Europe and the economy is tanking. You think South Africa's problems? Yeah, Russell. Russell, are you in Graz? Is that why it's at the end of your Graz? I know Graz. It's not Refugee Night, but urgently need to know if RSC from Kenya legit. I don't know what RSC is. I know what WS, World Church Council. We covered that earlier. I guess you weren't watching the program earlier, Mark. You tuned in at 1:59. We covered this. I spent the first 15 minutes of my broadcast going over this story because people are inundating my email accounts. RSC, yeah. You need to know if RSC is legit. It is legit, but I don't know that it's legit that they're contacting South Africans. I have no confirmation of that. I covered all this at the beginning of the broadcast. You'd be well served after we're done to go back and watch the first, skip past the music and then the next 15 minutes after that. Coke used to have cocaine in it a long time, a century ago. When you finish with the news, what's happening in Antarctica? Nothing. Well, it's not just East Asian Airlines, John Brown. We had a German Wings flight where the pilot did the same thing. He flew a flight from France into the French Alps, killed everybody on board. German wings. Remember that? I think my in-laws are going to have, you are making a mistake by going to American Convention this weekend. Well, whatever. They're welcome to say what they want to you. That's your family. You're welcome to listen to them or not. David says, I listened very carefully. It seems all legit to me. I had a code which belongs to me. Yes, Russell. China's already got their crappy vehicles in South Africa. Lots of them. It's growing. Drama chasers prefer dumbed-down soapies over real-world issues. I think so. Good evening, Daryl. Got an email yesterday. Got the call this morning. Colonel, I sent you a copy of the email. Thank you, Daryl. Okay. It's not confirmed officially. It's tabloid news. What's that? They released the Epstein files on February 23rd. Oh, he's not the first pilot to do that, Varoshka. The first pilot to take everyone out. It happens. It happens. Corey says, Hendo says, many friends here, small business not doing well. Yeah, things are looking grim. Oh, Erica's here. All right, I've caught up with that. Okay, cool. Hope the doc actually tries something also instead of just referring. Well, the doc's not going to be able to try anything. I mean, I think what I need is an MRI to see if that muscle is torn, which I think it is. It's not like it just flaps in the wind and I can tell. So, yep. Can't cope with this news stress. A song will help. Hey, Werner. You sound good when you speak Afrikaans. We'll teach you more words. Madeline, that's kind of you, but I don't think that's true. My mom wants to go. Stepdad says no ways. She's devastated. Well, then maybe your mom goes by herself. I know people, I said this from the very beginning, the refugee program will split families in two. Some people are just going to refuse to go. Some people are going to refuse to go. What do you guys want to hear? The latest song? You want to hear the latest song? I loaded it up last night. Hang on a second here. Let me get over to my music. Stuck in the Groove. Let's do that one. This is Cyril, Stuck in the Groove.
Cyril, your needle is stuck in the groove. Round and round, but you never move. Promises echo like a hollow tune.
Kevin, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Sightlander site? Because you don't have to pay to comment here. You just have to subscribe. You must be talking about that one. Yeah, so someone asked if I could play the video from last night. Someone sent me. You talking about when Kathy did the song she did, the Colonel's Ode? I can play the Colonel's Ode. She gave me permission for that, and I've been playing it since she sent it to me. But the Opie Plus videos, I have those. I haven't edited them yet. I've got those. Plus, I haven't even done anything with the conversation with Vanity Toy. So that's there it is, Colonel's Ode. All right, I can play that. Hang on. This one gets me teary. So I just let me step away from the screen for a second. I love this voice, this AI generated voice. It's incredible. So we'll do this as we get ready to wrap up here, folks. But don't run off. Hit the like button if you haven't done that already. This is the Colonel's Ode. Kathy put this together and sent it to me a few weeks back, and we play it occasionally. It gets me kind of emotional because it reminds me of Opie Plus in that day, an epic day in South Africa.
Another day has arrived, and we are still in the same place of disarray. Hope is in the distance. I can see a tiny glimpse of light, just a tiny, tiny light. It is there, I know it. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance. Tomorrow may not arrive. I can feel it in my heart. I have prayed for it for oh so long. I know that it is coming our way. Tomorrow may not arrive. Yesterday has gone, but this I know. Today is gonna turn out just right. Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our Colonel Chris is a ray of sunshine. He has arrived just in time to keep that tiny light in the horizon still burning bright. Our prayers are being answered, so don't despair. Someone we can trust, which has been a long time coming when our hopes were shattered. He is that tiny bright light in the distance.
Gets me every time. As soon as I get the WAV file from Kathy, and she may have sent it to me already last night, I will load that up onto the GJ Silver Eagle. You'll be able to catch on Spotify and download if you want. Yep. Anyway, thanks for that, guys. But let's end it on something not so emotional, okay? Let's end it on something cool. We're not going to do Jellyfish Sway. We're going to do... Yeah, here we go. Here we go. You guys ready for this? We're going to wrap it up here after this. I got to get to the dock. Here you go. It's the Car Guards! Oh, yeah.
Down by the lot near the old cafe where the sun drives cars all night and day. There's a wild crew doing what they do. Yeah, you know them, the parking lot crew. Refugees with moves so tight, waving cars in left and right. 10 ways to say, yo, park that straight. 12 for bro, you're 20 late. Neanderthals in safety vests, snack in hand, but doing their best. One grunted loud, broke out in a jig. Turns out he just wants a parking gig. Canines bark like they run the block. Chased a drone, down beat the clock. One gave change with a tail wag spin. That dog's got tips and a toothy grin. Who you gonna call when the lot gets loud? Parking cones up in the drawing a crowd. Whistles blow and the scooters fly. It's a parking crew and the riding high. From the streets of town to the lot bazaar, they'll guard your ride like a superstar. Yeah, from Jersey streets to America, it's the funky, fearless parking lot crew. Car guard shout near the garbage bin. Who parked scale? You let them in. They blow their whistles in perfect time, like a backup band with a traffic sign. Then here comes Wyatt, the colonel boss. Duct tape boots and a look that's sauce. Rides a scooter with flashing beams, salutes pigeons, yells at ice cream. Men, dogs, aims from a line, no dents, no scrapes, no overtime. If they park like chaos, made a plan. Fight them twice and be the man. Who's got the beat in a vested hat? Parking legends funky like that. Guard your eye with soul and fire and a high-fi breeze in the summer air. From this line here to America, it's the wild, proud parking lot crew.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Found it interesting and informative. And be sure to watch my other content, my videos. The Emma Powell video hasn't got much attention, needs more attention. Thank you for that. And we'll see you guys a bit later, okay? Thanks a lot. Helena Solomon just gave 140 Rand Super Chat. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. And we'll catch you guys later. Cheers. Be well. And don't get rassled. This was a gift from a viewer. Cheers.